This is sublime.
Pretty much just got grilled. If you really think that's what you're going to be able to do at an AFL club, you're joking.
Now he sees Danaher and gets beyond him.
Picked by the Brisbane Lions in 2017 as the number 1 draft, Cam Rayner has gone on to play over 150 games, including being a key player in Brisbane's 2024 premiership winning season.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was one of the most unbelievable things that I've seen.
He's so explosive. Just off one step.
I've kind of kicked my dad under the table. That's just like...
Welcome to Teabaggers, Cam Rayner. Thanks for coming on.
Beautiful, boys. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome, mate. So what we like to do on the show is we talk all the golf stuff first, then we get into all the other expertise of yourself. So when you got into golf, was it love at first slice or was it a little slow burn?
Mate, I was almost just playing golf to get around the boys almost a little bit. Obviously coming up from Melbourne and moving to Brisbane where the golf culture has been huge ever since I've been here, and it probably took me about 2 years to get out in the course. So that would have been nearly 5 years ago now. So early on days it was hard yakka. I was out playing at Brookwater, which is, I'm not sure if you boys been there before, but a very, very, very hard course.
We haven't been there. We did discuss. We Googled it before we came up. That was one of the courses we actually want to hit up. What's it like?
It's immaculate, like unbelievable. Fairways as narrow as anything though. So like you can imagine for a
that
person.
That first tee looks like
it's
Augusta-like,
daunting. That's nightmare stuff, honestly.
Is it?
So, and that's pretty much where I started playing golf. So I think early days, my first 3 cards I handed in would have all been over 120. Have come back with a 33 handicap, and I've gone like, what is this fuss that all these boys are carrying on about? But ever since then, it's just start to chip away and get better and better. The more addicted you get, and it's turned from not really knowing much about golf to sitting there and having it on the TV, flat stick, and watching every YouTube channel and stuff. So I'm in love with it now, though.
Who's the favourite for learning some YouTube tutorials?
Oh, mate, we got a bloke called Zach Bailey at the footy club who is just you can't put it past him. Like we got broomsticks in the gym, which are stretching, and you can imagine every 2 seconds he turn around, he's practicing his swing. It's all about his feel. He's going around correcting everyone else. But as I said, there's that many people at the footy club who are in love with it, and we've all just kind of moulded our way into one of the bigger golfing clubs in the AFL, probably you could say. So it's good fun. So
out of the obviously the golf culture across the AFL teams is pretty high. Who do you reckon would win if they had a show like a Ryder Cup style between all the AFL teams?
I know the Hawks boys are pretty good.
Yep.
I've seen a lot of stuff from the Crows boys, which is pretty impressive as well. My mate Zach Butters from Port Adelaide, I saw his tee off on one of the pro-ams down there where he's knuckleballed one down the fairway.
I think that was the Blitz thing, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
That made me giggle a little bit. But I don't know. I think we'd be around the mark. We got a lot of good players like Dane Zorko, Jared Berry, I think Huey, McCluggage, they're all under 10. We had Jackson Pry, who's actually just gone to Essendon, who was pretty much off 2 or 3. So a lot of us probably sitting in between that, 10 to 15 range.
Yep.
Hopefully, if that did come to fruition, that we'd be able to just chip away from there. So
get it done. So can you did speak about your first round being at Brookwater. What's the memories of first going out there? What were the nerves like? Who were you with?
I think it actually might have been Jared Berry and Hugh McCluggage who, they were here a year before I got drafted, so they were really big golfers and had played it before being drafted as well. And all the fuss was them going out and playing golf on their day off, and I was like, I better go give it a go. And I don't know how they put up with me early days because now when you start playing and you're following all around the course, you can get a little bit frustrated when you get to your ball. And I would have had 5 or 6 shots before they hit their second. So, it's obviously always good fun. And I remember, I think one of the earlier memories was my swing was a lot quicker than the clubs that I was swinging with. So they reckon it was me swinging with a genuine piece of spaghetti. My hands were already down in the ball while the club head was already at the back. So,
you've upgraded to the stiff shaft
now?
now?
Mate, I got extra stiff. I think, so.
So the swing speed's high.
Yeah, but no, always good fun. And as I said before, like the better you get, it's probably the more frustrating the game gets.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I love it, mate. It's also great fun, and you can get the chance to get out on the day off and get moving, and it's a great way to build connection out there as well.
How many rounds do you reckon you're sneaking in a week?
Oh, mate, to be honest, towards the back end of last year, I was getting pretty heavy on it, but my groin started pulling up a little bit extra sore from games, and I was kind of going like, am I running harder here? Am I playing too much golf? So, but no, I'm trying to go at least once a week. Our day off is Wednesday, and that's usually the day we try to get out. But if there's a game on a Friday or a Thursday, you try to double up and play after the game. But that can always be a little bit challenging after you've bashed yourself throughout the game. You get out there and your swing feels a little bit crooked and your body feels a bit sore. But 1 to 2 a week is the way to go, I think.
You used to say to me once you'd been in the gym, lifted a few dead weights, you actually started feeling better because the muscles were a bit sore.
They're a bit more activated, and it sort of makes you focus a bit more. So that's been a benefit for both of us, I reckon.
I reckon the upper body gym and then going out to the golf course, you feel that the shoulders are a little bit bigger over the ball, which is nice. But I definitely don't recommend it after playing a game in AFL. It's not great.
Nah, that's fair enough. So obviously you talked about your swing speed. So I'm thinking you're the bloke that rolls up to the tee and going to crush the drive 300 metres every time. What's the strongest part of your game?
I don't think my drive's my strongest. I can get onto them here and there, but that the slice can come out really, really quickly if I don't stay over it. But my long irons are probably my strength, and then a little bit of the touch around the green's nice, but. It's funny, all the boys say that the way I play football compared to the way I play golf is the complete opposite.
We weren't expecting that. That wasn't what we were looking for.
A lot of people think it would just be like a ball at a gate and just try and smoke them down, but I'll probably take a little bit more pride in the delicate side of golf than what I do in footy. So
you need that in golf for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
What about on the tee box? What's the go-to thought then? I'd preempted that you were just thinking belt this, but it's obviously a bit more subtle.
Yeah, I think... As I've gotten better, I think it's probably a little bit more about placement. Very lucky I play a lot of golf at Nudgee, so that is a very open course, and you can kind of just stand up there and give it all you got and kind of figure your way out through there. But early days playing at Brookwater, that wasn't probably the case because the fairways were so narrow, so I probably learnt to kind of pick the spots a little bit better and just hit it a bit straighter. And as I've gotten better, I think that's probably what works for me. And I think the tempting thing is, though, when you play with all the boys, you've got 3 blokes to stand up there and pump a drive down the middle. It's like, I'm not going to be the bloke that pulls out 90.
I've got to match this.
You just stand up there and just swing your life away anyway. But I'd say that the irons is probably what's brought me down and made me a better golfer.
So you talk about that. Obviously, 120 scores are your first 3 cards. Your handicap's going to be high. Where's your handicap at the moment?
I think it was sitting around 12 the other day.
Yep.
I had an absolute stinker at Brizzy on, what day was that? Monday. So I think I might have jumped out a little bit. But I've been in around that mark for a little bit now. I was probably about a year and a half ago, I reckon I was sitting about 20 or 18, and then I actually went 8 over at Brookie, which was a lot better than what I'd done before and anywhere close to it. So that brought me back down. And as you boys know, you find that patch where you just kind of get stuck a little bit, and I'm kind of sitting in that middle bit now. So, have
you had many golf lessons? Is that what's
really I think that's what's caused me the issue actually at the moment. I've gone and got a couple of lessons, and I've changed my grip to a bit more. I used to always go interlock, but I grip the club very, very hard as I like to punch it, and I feel like I've changed to a little bit more of a, not necessarily a baseball grip, but just let go of the fingers a little bit. And I think that might be causing me a couple of issues, so I might have to retreat and go back to what I know.
That is the issue, though. When you have a few lessons, you're paying, I'm going to get better, and you've got to go backwards to go forwards, and it's just like
it's very tough, and
with the mind.
Especially when you stand above a ball, you want to feel comfortable.
Yep.
So what's comfortable is what you've always done, kind of thing. And then when you go get a lesson and you feel like you're all over the shop, your hands are in a different spot, and you stand in a different position. As soon as it starts going south, you initially just want to go back to that comfy spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm in that suck and see situation at the moment now of what I want to do with it. But we were that bad the other day that we ended up starting to play for a couple of beers. The next time we went out for a couple of drinks, that's the only thing that got me back to it.
That's pretty much how we play all the time. Is the score starts declining, and that was what I was going to ask you. So have you got any? Would the boys say you got any bad sort of habits on the course, like you're always blaming the greens or you're always blaming conditions? Are there any sort of habits you carry? Taking a breakfast ball off the tee, anything like that?
I think my bad habits that I self-sabotage the whole group if I'm playing bad. I was playing with Jared Berry the other day, and I think my first 3 holes I had 2 pickups. So initially, straight off the rip, I was like, all right, this could be either a real bad day or a real good day. And I started to turn the tunes on and put the hat backwards and have a bit of fun with it while he was going well. And I might have interfered with how he was playing. Yep. And then I don't think I got a word out of him for the last 10 holes. So. But I feel like, with golf, the more you play, like, you know, if you get too serious with it, then you start correcting yourself and it becomes a bit more than what it's meant to be, which is just fun.
Yeah.
Like I find myself going up and like, you know, you might duff a shot or have a putt and you get a bogey, and then I'm walking back to the car going like, oh, bogey. And then I look at myself going like, mate, what are you complaining about a bogey for? Like, you know what I mean? You take them like this bloke that was playing a brookie buddy 4 years ago to even get the green in buddy 5 shots would have been happy. So I'll probably enjoy it a little bit too much, and it might throw a couple other people off, but I don't think I'd be a terrible person to play with.
So are you super competitive, or it is just go out and vibe and get a mind reset?
I don't know. I think it's a bit of both. Like the competitive juice has definitely come out, and you know, at the footy club we've got a jacket that we play for a couple of times a year, which is good fun. And
so who owns the jacket at the moment? Tell us
Zach
a bit more
Bailey.
about
So Zach Bailey's back to back at the moment. So he had it on the back for the long time that he could never get one, and you know the boys had always put a lot of pressure on him. We've got physios at our footy club that were challenging him on his handicap. I think he'd have to cough up maybe a putter cover, a driver head cover, just for challenges along the journey. But he's really hitting the ball well at the moment. So he's a back-to-back champ. I'm trying to think. Jackson Pryor, who's gone to Essendon, he's won it a couple of times, and you know this dates back all the way back to 2014. So
it's got some
all
history.
the names are on the back, and
what colour is it? Is it maroon?
It's a white one.
The
maroon would have been good actually, but you know, there's plenty of things to go on. So whoever comes last has to go get it embroidered, and they got to sing the national anthem at the start of the next one. So it can't be the normal national anthem either. You got to put a bit of jazz on it. So there's boys that come up with all different ideas about bringing speakers and megaphones and anything out there. So it's a good tradition that we got, and that's when the competitiveness starts to come out a little bit. And you know, if you want to joke around, there's a couple of boys that might get a bit grumpy with me out there, but you usually know after, you know, hole 9, hole 12, because it's a feedback score, the boys get shot in if you're around the mark or not. But if you're not and you sit in that middle patch where you don't have to come last, you're sitting pretty, and either side of it, you shake you a little bit. So it's good fun.
Nah, awesome, mate. So this one's a little bit of a different question. What if you're going to walk into a Drummond golf store and when you walk out, you can take whatever you want? What's your go-to? What would you be taking as a set of clubs?
Unlimited budget.
Unlimited budget.
Yeah, right. That's a good one. I don't know. The clubs that I've got at the moment, I've got the Pings, and they've helped me out a little bit. Like I don't know, the people at Drummond as well. I'll shout out to the Drummond Wool and Gabba. They've looked after me very, very well. Dan there, he looks after a lot of the boys, and my new Ping irons that I've picked out are really, really nice. And I've had Titleist, and I've had Callaway's as well. And you know, I don't know. There's something about the Pings that's just working for me at the moment. So
you got the full set?
The full set. I got the driver, and then what am I? I've got to change my 3-wood. I got a new one recently, so that's not a Ping one. But yeah, I know. If anyone hasn't hit the Ping irons before, I'd give them a go.
It a crack. I haven't done that. Have you hit?
No, I haven't hit them before.
No, we're Cobra. Cobra have helped us out with some clubs over the years, so we sort of stuck with them. And putters. What's your go-to putter?
I don't know. The boys are rolling the big putters at the moment. A couple of the broomsticks are out there. So
okay.
Eric Kipwood.
Who's that?
Eric Kipwood.
Yeah, shout him out so we can sort of shame him on the show.
The shaft on his putter is, I'm not exaggerating, it's nearly up to his chest. So you can imagine a normal person's size.
It's a 6-foot broomstick, isn't it?
Oh, mate. But I've got an Odyssey putter at the moment. That does me pretty fine. So, you know, it's funny with Eric as well. He always tries to make things very interesting. And he goes, oh, you know, that's just the normal size, mate. And I'm holding it. It's like, and I'm going like, rightio, Rick, whatever you say, mate. But I'd stick with my little Odyssey one that I like.
And any issues with broken clubs? I remember once where Dale broke his 8-iron and it was his favourite club, and every time we'd go and play, I don't have
for
my
the next
8-iron.
like 12 rounds, every time I went to pull my bag, 8-iron, it just taunted me.
Any issues with broken clubs?
I reckon I might have thrown a club once early days. Looking back on it, was a driving iron. I actually loved it, and I didn't get it back. I've played with Luke Hodge, who snapped a club and thrown one into the tree, which was good. That was early days when I was golfing, and I was like, you know, it doesn't mean that much, mate. Like, it's okay, but he's a very aggressive man. We've got Logan Morris, so one of the young boys who got drafted last year. He recently started golf, so he's kind of going through that period that we all kind of start with.
Frustration and
you know, we were playing a nudger the other day, first hole, and pipe one down the middle. I'm like, buddy, this is pretty good. Second shot was into the trees, and then third shot snapped his club around a tree. I was like, oh mate, poor bugger. But I've been pretty good, to be honest. I haven't snapped any. I reckon that with the way I'm playing at the moment, though, there might be one on the horizon that might be snapped very soon.
Something coming. Is there any crazy stories of golf? Anything happened on the golf course that you've seen or heard? One of the stories we had was we were playing in America one time, and
Sean's put his ball probably, couple fairways over, nearly hit a couple people. He's gone over to grab his ball very sheepishly and got into a little argument where, possibly could have,
There was threats of
guns coming
serious
out.
violence, and I went there apologetic, so I wasn't going there like I was.
Could
like,
you imagine
hey,
if you went over with a little bit of steam on it?
I was already.
The wild west of Arizona.
Yeah.
There isn't many that I've made too bad. I've seen an old lady hit a hole-in-one on a par 3 with a driver that's gone along the ground.
Oh, that's amazing.
That was one of the most unbelievable things that I've seen, and it's generally rolled up, hit the pin, dropped in.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's great.
I'm trying to think. One of the boys.
Did she shout the bar, or did they shout her?
She head down straight away, straight up to the hole, grabbed it. I don't think she wanted anyone to see. There's been a couple of things. I'm not sure if this is probably the right thing to say, but one of the boys took out a parrot at Brookwater once off the tee, which wasn't great. Harry Sharp actually was at Melbourne. We were in Barnbougle last year. He drilled a hole in one at Barnbougle on a 170 par 3, which is really nice. But I haven't come across any guns or anything on the golf course just yet.
Have you had any hole-in-ones yourself? You've seen a few of someone else?
I haven't. I've seen 2 Jared Lyons, Adelaide boy actually.
Yep.
Who, he had one at Nudgee recently last year in a little bowl green, which was nice to watch. I think Harris Andrews and Zach Bailey have both had him at the footy club. So they actually had him.
Hole-in-one fiesta.
This
down
is
there.
They had him back-to-back days, actually. So one bloke got it and got it the next day. And there's a couple of questions asked, obviously, at the footy club, as you do. But
Why are you on the course?
Both playing by themselves.
yeah, I was going like, you just can't be telling me that. And they're both at the same golf club. So I was like, oh, I don't know about that. But yeah, the boys have dialed in recently, which has been good.
Yeah, good one. Who's at the club that's got all the gear but no idea?
Oh, that's a good one. Kai Lohman.
Kai Lohman.
Yeah, he likes to dress up. He always comes out with the tiger red top on as well. But yeah, I don't know. There's question marks about him. We've all seen him play, and yeah, I don't know. He swings well sometimes, but I'm pretty sure he went down to back home where he's from in Ballarat, and he put up a 45 or a 46 and then come back with a bit of a lower handicap, and we've all gone, yeah, I don't know about that guy. So, but to be fair, he's actually come a long way as well, so I don't want to pot him too much.
Awesome. So we know footy clubs are very, very competitive. A lot of competitive juices flowing around the place. What's the trash talk like on the golf course? Who's got the best trash talk?
Yeah, that's something that I think we're all very, very good at.
Yeah.
And I guess because you spend so much time around each other, and especially up in Brisbane, I think different to any other clubs, a lot of the people that come to Brisbane are away from their families, away from home. So a lot of time outside of the football club you spend with each other as well. So I think everyone knows how to flick each other's buttons real easily. So we know how to get into each other. But I don't think this will come to any surprise, but Dane Zorko on the golf course is really dirty, as he is on the footy field.
Is Dane pretty handy with the clubs?
Yeah, he's one of those blokes that I'm not sure, you probably heard this before, but just good at everything.
Yep.
And it just pisses you off.
Yeah.
Like, there's every little thing that he can do.
And he need to tell you about it
too.
too.
Mate, and straight in your face about it as well. Like, he'll dish it out, but it's almost like he'll hit a good shot and then get up in your face and remind you about it kind of thing. I feel like Jared Berry, really good. Trash talker as well. Someone that might go under the radar, like Hugh McCluckage, who comes across as really unassuming, but can just drop in those little one-liners. It'll just rattle you for a little bit. But the worst at receiving it would be Zach Bailey as well. Like, he's one of those blokes you can get into his head really, really easily. And he just falls apart. And, I don't think he likes... One of the boys like carding with him because if you get under his skin, he will just go mute for the whole round. So, but no, there is a lot of players that like to throw it around.
Love that. There's you got a lot of high-profile guys up here in Queensland. Obviously, the footy boys. You got the NRL guys. A lot of business people. Do you play with people outside of the AFL realms? And out of the whole crew, who's most likely to name drop themselves to pull a tea time?
Yeah, the Broncos boys float around a little bit as well. We've played a couple of rounds with them. I think Charlie name drops everywhere. So
Charlie Cameron?
Yeah.
He's the old Adelaide.
Mate, he'll name drop on to get anywhere. But yeah, I think it's pretty hard to go past him. He's seems to be always playing with someone different every second week. So gets out with Chris Lynn a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Linny, he's been on the
He's been a
podcast.
teabagger.
Mate, he can hit a long ball, Linny. So yeah, I'd say Charlie.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah, awesome. Have you obviously get a bit of time off in the off season? Travelled overseas. What courses you played? Any
we went
memorable
over
ones?
2 years ago and played Sage Valley, which was unbelievable.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Actually, I've got nearly a close to a hole in one on the second hole there, which was it's a real picturesque hole over water.
Yep.
I can't
Is that
say.
the Tiger Woods one? This age? What's,
I'm not
which
sure.
one's that?
It's in.
I've got a feeling he did design it, didn't he?
Is it?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We went over there. I was gonna say like can't really remember a lot of the course. Had a couple of drinks when we were over there.
Was it after the premiership?
No, it wasn't.
Year
It was
or
after the one we
year
lost. So we were drowning our sorrows over there.
But he's a Pies supporter, so
Sorry, I wasn't going to bring it up,
Oh,
mate.
mate, I'm gonna have to leave now. No, we've done that. We did. We went to New Zealand last year. Played all the course in Queenstown, like Jack's Point.
Wicked. Yep.
Unbelievable. Really, really nice. Like Barnbougle in Tasmania is unbelievable as
Did
well.
you get to King Island?
We haven't been to King Island yet.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we want to
gotta
go.
do it.
We did the King Island, just off the back of COVID, we did the King Island Barnbougle sort of trip. Kate Wickham was probably the
I've heard about
most
that.
amazing
Yeah.
course we've ever played.
Yeah.
So if you do get a chance to get back there, and I think Tasmania's just got the new 7 Mile Beach one
Yes.
that's just
Yeah.
opened up as well, which is supposed to be awesome.
That's good you say that because we're actually looking like in the works at the moment to try and figure out a little bit of a golf trip at the back end of this year. So a couple of boys have thrown out like Vietnam. Apparently there's some really
Yep.
nice courses over there. Hong Kong's got good courses as well. But I think New Zealand or Tasmania, I reckon, will be where we land on. So I'll have to follow you up.
Well,
and
we
try
do
and
have
see.
the one coming in Adelaide, which is on Kangaroo Island.
Yes.
I'm just trying to remember the name. It's going to miss me. I think
The
they've
Cliffs.
just the Cliffs.
Yeah.
They've just
Yeah, okay.
laid the grass on the 8th hole. All the irrigations in. I think we're probably still around couple.
Maybe 6 months until the course is open, I think
Yeah.
they're
That would be
anticipating.
really good.
That might line up perfectly for us.
There
to
you
go
go.
straight
Well,
to-
if, we'll tee you up
So I
for
think
sure.
the
If
boys
that's,
can get you on there. No worries.
No, that'd be great.
No, that's some awesome talking about golf. Let's jump into some footy. Let's wind it back a bit. When you were playing as a junior, was there a moment where you thought, gee, I'm actually pretty good at this game?
I don't know. Like, I think I was very lucky when I was young. Obviously, my older brother was playing 2 years above me at my junior club, and my dad usually coached my older brother. So I got the chance to go up and play like older football than what I was a lot.
Yep.
So I'd usually play the first half of the under 10, say, or if it was the under 12s, and then come off at halftime and get ready and play a second half in the older footy. So played against like bigger bodies, and that wasn't really unfamiliar with me. And then I guess moving into like your under 16s footy a little bit more serious, and I guess I was so used to playing against older people that it kind of made me feel like, not that I was a bigger body, but just being used to that contact and that. And as an under 16, I felt like that's when I started to realise that, I could actually maybe make a little bit of a career out of this, and getting into the Western Jets, like in TAC Cup footy in Victoria, and getting the chance to play for Victoria and things like that. I feel like it started to separate me from players that I'd played local footy with, and I'm like, I'm actually starting to make some ground here. And I guess as you get older, the main thing was to keep enjoying it. So I was trying to do that along the way as much as I could. But I reckon around that 16, 17, I was like, well, we can give this a real red hot crack now.
Yep.
And very lucky that, we did. My parents were really, really supportive, and got me to, I ended up going to Essendon Grammar, and they pushed me to do that with my education and my footy. And I guess it all kind of turned from there.
So that was, you played a fair bit of the school footy.
I played school footy in my last 2 years of school. So originally I was at Taylor's Lake Secondary College, which is just a school real close to my house, and ended up going to Maribyrnong Sports College for 6 months, and then 6 months had passed and I got a scholarship to Essendon Grammar. So I kind of bounced all over the shop, but school footy was unbelievable. Like, the school does such a good job to put on. Our games were Friday afternoons, and the lunchtime ballad ring, and they nearly cut off period 5 and 6 so everyone could come and watch the footy.
Yeah, I went to a college and probably wasn't as big as that, but I remember that, and that was one of the best. I was playing in the under 18, the open 18 side, and even before I was even in that side, it was just awesome to get the thing. Everyone's in the blazer, and you see it on that. I think it's baseline footy now. Where we've got is it Xavier, or they've got the band playing.
It's unbelievable. And like one of my mates was actually playing at the school before I went there, and I had the Friday afternoon off, so me and Dad just went down and watched when I was a little bit younger, and I was like, this is like unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I guess, everyone from the school buys in, and it almost feels like school v school, and everyone turns up. So looking back on it, that was awesome, and some of those games are, unreal.
Yeah, it's a little introduction to the crowds you're probably playing in front of now.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit different, I guess. I think when my first year was Brisbane versus GWS, and I think we only might have had 4,000 or 5,000 there. And I was like, I want to go back and play for Pegs again. But it's turned out, which is good. So, the Gav's rocking every single week when we play there. So I've been loving it.
Yeah, so playing at Essendon Grammar, that leads into getting drafted. At what point there were the clubs talking to you, and when did you sort of think where you might sort of end up going in the draft? Was it a given where you were going to be, or was it a bit uncertainty?
It was a bit strange. Like the draft process is like something you've never really come across before. Obviously, as a young man, you got people coming over your house, sitting you down in front of your parents, pretty much grilling you to see your reaction and how you cope from that. And like as a 17-year-old, it's pretty confronting because.
And are these aren't the senior coaches? This is
no. Well, there's times where the coaches come around. There's times where they're recruiters, and you know, there's even been times where they bring like the club psychs, and they would they'd sit the club psych behind you so you couldn't make eye contact with them, but just know that they would be there. It's really, really strange, and you know, looking back on it, look at some of the questions they'd ask you, you'd just be like, firstly, what's that got to do with footy?
Have you got any on the top of your head?
You can like count backwards from 500 by sevens.
What?
Like things like that. And I'm going like, I can't even count backwards from fucking
I kicked 6 on the weekend, mate. What do you want from me?
And then like that'd be, you know, if there's one teammate you think's going to get into a punch on, who would it be? If you were to get into a punch on, who do you reckon would back you up? And just like almost going like, I don't even know if they'd want an answer, but it'd be like,
It's very similar to getting in the police force.
Okay.
It's like,
Just
have you
like-
ever had a
just test-
a
just
dream
testing
about
you.
murdering someone? It's just like they're literally just testing
little,
you.
like just to see, it's almost like I don't even know if they actually really worry about the answer. It's more about how you react from the question.
Okay.
Yep.
There was describe yourself as a car. They gave us a straight.
What did you describe yourself as?
I said a Mack truck because I was going to go something nice like a Porsche or something. I'm like, nah, it's not like that. But like, and then they'd give us like a race, like a straight horse race, and say commentate the horses coming down the straight.
Oh, jeez.
Like, cause some blokes would be like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
and then other blokes would give it everything and like have a bit of fun with it. So I think they're just obviously trying to siphon out the type of people that you are and the people they want in their footy club. But and then obviously going a little bit more serious, like you do your combine testings and everything. And I've got a story from Brisbane. Obviously towards the back end, I'd had an inkling that Brisbane was looking likely, and obviously I think the order after that was Fremantle and Carlton, and I'd spoken a little bit to Carlton, not as much to Freo, but we had our 2K time trial, or 3K time trial, but I missed the original one, so I had to do a follow-up one. They closed off Etihad, and it was 4 people running, so it was me, Darcy Fogarty, and Charlie Constable. I can't remember who the 4th one was, but so not a lot of smooth movers. Anyway, and you know we didn't break any records out there, and then the next day Brisbane came over to my house and pretty much just got grilled and said like, if you really think that's what you're going to be able to do at an AFL club, you're joking, and this and that and this. And I'm sitting there with mum and dad, and I'm kind of looking at mum and dad going like, shit, it's definitely not going to be Brisbane then. But then obviously after that, you go to the combine and the draft night. You've got no idea. You're sitting there, and I think it was maybe 5 minutes before my name got called out that my manager sent me just like a little lines emoji, and obviously my head was already all over the shop anyway, so I didn't really think much of it then either. And then I was like, oh, shit, maybe that actually might mean I won't be going. So no word of a lie, straight up to the time my name got called out, I had no idea. So shock for me, shock for my family, and then I guess after that it's 2 days you go back home, and then you're on a flight to Brisbane. So it happens like that, and then all of a sudden you're in Brizzy and you're into it, and it's like, geez, well this is it. Like we're straight into it. This is how we go. And I guess the hardest thing for me at the time, looking back, it's probably not that important, but all my mates are at school. He's on the Goldie. Yeah. And I'm sitting at Brizzy going like, it's an hour down the road. Like, and I'm like thinking to myself, God, it's probably not a good look if I'm down the Goldie. So I missed out on that. But anyway.
So you roll into the Lions on the first day of training. I'm trying to work out the age group of Sever, whether Jonathan Brown's still around. Is he still in the team, or is he gone?
No, he was gone. So we were kind of already turned to a bit more of a younger team by the time I got there.
Yep.
So I'd say the average age would have been probably 24, 23.
Yep.
So pretty young. Hodgie came with me, which was pretty cool. So he got traded the year that I got drafted. So that was good to have him as obviously being a former number 1 pick, and I could bounce ideas off him, and he didn't really mince his words, which was probably good for me at that time. But we had blokes who I thought were old, like Dane Zorko and Froggy Lester, who were probably the same age that I am now, but they were really the senior players at the club. And Fags had come in and kind of just given it a full washout, and it's pretty much started from scratch. So I think they won 7 games in the last 2 years before I'd got there, and the likes of like Bez and Huey, who were the year before me. And in a way, they kind of just said, like, this is the group that we've got now. We're going to back his in and let's see if we can kind of get things rolling, which back then was a lot of confidence for us, yeah.
Did you, so be the number one pick, but the club, I guess, in that rebuilding phase, was there a bit less pressure on you being the number one pick, or did it still come with a lot of pressure?
I think there was a little bit of pressure, and it was almost internal as well. Like, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, but the best thing for it was coming onto Brisbane, to be honest.
Yep.
Like, I feel bad for a lot of the other blokes that do go really, really high and get thrown into a bit of the shark pit down in Melbourne where it's just on you. And even, like, for example, Harley Reid, he's copped it more than anyone. Like, the newspaper articles that he's had, like, I think it was something ridiculous. I'm not sure what the number was, but weeks in a row of him being on the back page of the paper.
Of the paper over the
where I came up here and I could kind of just go about my work a little bit. And the club was so good with that, just letting me build my way into it, and gave me the confidence to pretty much say, like, we're going to back you in. You just keep chipping away. And they probably did that for us as a team as well. Like, all the young boys that came in, Fags was so open and so honest about where he thought we sat and what we need to get better at and what we need to do. And I feel like when you have that trust so early as an 18, 19-year-old, it gets to the stage now where I am now, where I know where I sit, and if I need something, I can ask, and if there's something I don't like, I can say it, and it's such an honest conversation. So all the work back then just built towards now, which has been so good.
Yeah, awesome. What was the biggest learning curve when you did arrive at the club? What was the biggest shock?
I think probably the training standard.
The training standard.
Yeah. Like, again, I would never complain about what I do for my life. I'm so lucky that I get to play AFL football, but as a teenager coming through, you think it's all really pretty and everything's easy and it's work, but the pre-season and the stress after games and everything like that, you don't really think about that. So adjusting to that early on was probably something that I was struggling with a little bit, but again, like, you need to go through that to understand what it is, and then it makes the high so much better. But we had a lot of good people around the footy club, and again, like Hodgie had been here, he'd seen everything. Even blokes like Ryan Lester and Zorks had been through a lot with the footy club. So again, like, we had a lot of younger boys there that we got to grow old together, kind of thing, and go through it all together. We're all in the same situation. So just learning the ups and downs of what AFL's like, and knowing that there's a lot of good times, but it's also very, very tough sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all part of it.
Yeah. Awesome.
What's the biggest welcome to the AFL moment you had? Was it a big hit? Did you cop a spray? What made you think, shit, this is AFL footy? This is game
some
on
of the
here.
knocks early, I was like, again, thinking that I was a big guy in under 18s, and then you come to the AFL and you get hit by someone a little bit bigger, and you're like, maybe I need to get back in the gym a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I remember in my first practice match, I handballed one off and tried to block Buddy Franklin. We were playing Sydney out at Burpengary in Brisbane. And he just turned around and said, "Are you on Hodgie's diet?" I was a bit chubby. And I've just, real quick one-liner, and I've obviously grown up watching this bloke years and years and years. Like, idolised him, and he turned around and whacked me with that. I'm like, ooh. But that was pretty funny. But, there is, and it's so funny because I guess growing up as a fan, you watch so many of those players, and I think that's probably the thing that just struck me, is like, you're running alongside blokes that you've literally been watching for the last 5 years and trying to learn things off them. And it took me probably the best part of 2 or 3 years to actually turn my mindset on that, because you still are just a little boy, like, living out your dream kind of thing. But yeah, I think that's probably the thing that that caught me early, is just like, you go from idolising and trying to take as much off these players to then how can I try and beat this bloke kind of thing. Which is still pretty cool to look at now. And I still do it to this day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So obviously you've got some big rivalries already. Obviously you're probably thinking we're going to knock Collingwood off this year to get them back from a few years ago.
Let's hope not.
The Gold Coast, the rivalry there. What's the biggest rivalry down at the club? Who are the club like that? There's
Who
no
you really
way we're
fired
losing
up for?
today.
Yeah. I think the Gold Coast rivalry's taken a massive leap in the last couple of years.
Was there
I guess.
a brawl the other
Pre-season game
Yeah,
brawl,
the
wasn't
pre-season
there?
they came after the Ashcroft boys, which was very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
So that's definitely something. But I feel like for us, when we first started making finals, having teams like Geelong and Richmond, like, they just used to keep pumping us in finals.
Yep.
And I know that fed us up. Like, we have a really consistent year throughout the year, and then get to the final and lost 2 prelims to Geelong and come against Richmond when they were at their absolute peak, and getting beat like that in finals makes you feel you're so far away from it. And then I guess now, we've got the chance to beat those teams in finals, and now that we've won a grand final, and I guess Geelong is still up and around it, I think that's a team that we really, really prepare ourselves for, and it doesn't really matter where they are on the ladder. You know that they're going to be extremely hard to beat no matter where they are.
Do you know when you play them next?
I'm not sure when it is. I think might be just before the bye, I think. So 2 or 3 weeks. So
Up here?
down there actually.
down there, yeah.
We haven't beat them there for a while either. So I'm sure we're going to be setting ourselves a challenge for that one.
Yeah, so you obviously got the big one last year. How do you, and I guess the group as well, how do you get fired up to come back? Because you're second on the table this year. We saw the year before Collingwood probably had a bit of a lull after winning it. You boys sort of haven't missed a beat in terms of performance. How'd you get yourself up for it?
It's kind of hard because you can understand it, obviously being in that position now, and I feel like we probably still actually haven't really played our best footy, but we still just found ways to win games, which is really good. And the one thing that keeps this group hungry, I reckon, is the younger boys that are coming through. Like, as an older player, a +5, you don't have to come back from the preseason for might be an extra week and a half or 2 weeks. And, you know, when we came back into training, you can see these blokes that missed out on the opportunity to play in a grand final and that are coming through, and you see how hard they're training. It's kind of like, well, you know, if we don't pull your finger out, then they'll take your spot in 2 seconds. And the club's really good and being really open with that. Like, it doesn't matter how many runs you have on the board. If there's a bloke that's putting in more work and producing more effort, then they'll play. So I give a lot of credit to the younger group that have come back in really good nick and put it back on us older boys to then we have to make sure we go another level as well. And that's something that's really helped us this year, I think. Like, we got a lot of production from blokes like Kyle Oman and Logan Morris. Like, Jasper Fletcher's taken another step forward, and it just keeps putting pressure on the younger boys to follow. So I guess if you can get that growth from the younger boys pushing the older boys up, I feel like that's helped it a lot.
Yeah. Who should we be looking out for on the Brisbane Lions list that's not in the team at the moment that's really, you know, it might be not this year, but next year that's going to really take to the next level?
Yeah, Ty Gallup, who got drafted this year from the Sunny Coast.
Yep.
We do a little caddy system, and I'm not just pumping him up because I'm his caddy.
So what is the caddy system?
The caddy system at the footy club is pretty much they pair an older bloke up with a younger guy who's not necessarily similar position, but like around the same mark.
Yep.
So this bloke, Ty's a key forward, obviously fresh 18. I think he's be over 100 kilos, 190, big, just a big lump of a man. And he's just got that real competitiveness about him.
Yep.
So I reckon to be fair, I think he'll probably still get a chance to play this year.
Yep.
I reckon he'll get a chance to get in there, and I know that he'll play very well when he does. But him, I think, Sam Marshall, who's played a game, who got drafted this year, probably a little bit unheard of with Levi being the father-son. He was actually an academy player who's come in, who's doing really, really well. And who else would I could say? I could say Will McLaughlin, who's a Geelong fella who came last year in the mid-season. He's played 2 or 3 games, but I think he'll be someone that'll turn a corner in the next couple of years, and another bloke who's put a lot of pressure on us forwards to make sure we're playing well.
Yeah, so it does put a lot of pressure on you guys.
Yeah.
No wonder why the team's going in the direction it is. So that's awesome.
Who's got the weirdest pre-game superstition or routine out of all the boys?
Oh, geez. There's a few. Darcy Wilmot is a strange cat. Just a strange
Tell us
cat.
more.
So this bloke, again, like, not necessarily super weird, but fried rice before the game, needs to have fried rice. To the point where he's carrying around in the microwave pack, walking through like Marvel Stadium looking for a microwave. So it's funny. I actually think that the club's got onto it now, and our property steward packs a microwave in our travel bag so he doesn't have to do laps of the ground. But he's a bit different. I'm sure there's many boys that do little things to themselves that I probably don't really pay attention to, but a few boys that like to have a spew before the game, like,
Jeez.
just to
Like bring it on themselves?
just
Nervous,
get it out, nervous energy, and like won't be able to get out to the ground until they get it out. So you can imagine like the boys putting on the jumpers and the bathrooms you hear and like.
I used to get that before my Resi's games. You know,
Well, that's what I get
Fire yourself up.
before the first tee of Brookwater. I'm in the back.
I've done that before at first tee, but not usually.
it wasn't nerves.
He didn't go to sleep from the night before.
That was never nerves.
Yeah, there's plenty, but I think that's probably up there with the stranger ones.
Awesome. What's something that the fans might not necessarily know about the day-to-day grind of AFL? Is there anything that is that doesn't come across? The fans obviously high expectations about winning and things like that. Is there anything?
probably a real basic one, like a simple one that even sometimes my family can still get a little bit shocked at. Like when you think about a day of a football, like you'd think training and then you'd go home kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like we have days, obviously, get out and you have your training prep from 7:30. We'll train from, 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock. Get off there, have a meeting that'll go for an hour. Go and jump in the gym for an hour and 40, nearly 2 hours.
Yep.
Another meeting into, your recovery, your massage, your ice baths, and then probably finish off with a meeting. It can be nearly sometimes like 7 o'clock, get to the footy club, but we won't get home till 5:30 or 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Right.
And that's probably something as well that kind of threw me off early on in my career because I thought, what more can you be doing? But then you see blokes who are like, I speak about Ryan Lester a lot as a great example of a bloke that's been on the list and he's just had 1 year contracts for the last 6 years.
Yep.
Nearly turned into one of our most important players last year, but would sit at the football club and probably do maybe best part of 45 to an hour of extra touch every single day.
Yeah, right.
And for a bloke who's 33 to set an example for younger guys, that's what the standard
And he's
is.
in and out of the side.
Yeah.
And he's
and he was doing that when he was playing VFL.
Yeah, right.
And like he would go and a bloke could take his spot. He would then go grab that guy, sit down and watch vision with him and tell him how to beat his opponent that he plays on.
Yeah, because that does come across about Lester, that he's probably one of the most inspirational, important blokes to the team.
Unbelievable. Like, seriously, like you can't put into words the impact that he has on the football club. And Fags always tells a great story about that when he wasn't playing games, he would literally come into Fags' office still in the leadership group and probably one of the other players to be in the leadership group that wasn't actually playing AFL footy. And we'd just check in with Fags and say, what can I do? What do I need to improve on?
Right.
Go back, work on it. He'd get that done. Fags say, you've done that. And he'd be like, well, how am I not in the team now? He'd go, well, can you go do this? Go do it. And he would literally just turn up. And then obviously a couple of injuries happened last year and has pretty much been a key pillar in our backline since.
Yep.
And again, when you've got blokes that set example like that at the footy club,
Drives
and
expectations.
probably I was a little bit away from the question, but like I think the longer days is something that people probably don't think of as much. Like they're
You mentioned to us something off camera just before around that some of the games that you actually finish, you're not actually really getting home till 1 a.m.
Yeah, well, like even a Gabba game, the night game that starts at 7:30, we'll play our game, finish up, and then obviously we have all our family and friends in the room after, and you've probably got maybe just around like a 45-hour break in between the game till the meeting, and then we'll sit down and have a meeting after the game. Yeah, right. So you can, and again, everyone's pretty wired after the game. You're pretty focused and locked in, and then you get home and it's then probably 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Yeah.
Very hard to sleep. I usually fall to a couple of bottles of Red, which usually put me to bed. It's just the way it goes. You wake up feeling not as great as we should be, but and then again, like you wake up the next day, you're pretty groggy, you're feeling sore, and then the next day just roll straight back into it. All right, back at 7 o'clock, let's get going again. So again, we get a great opportunity to put a lot of time into our bodies. Our new facilities pretty much got everything you could ask for in terms of sauna, spa, bloody recovery centres and everything. So we're very lucky with that. But yeah, I guess that's probably the grind of the season as well. It's just, you just got to keep turning it up. Just keep turning it up and keep getting there. So bringing it back to golf, that's why the Wednesdays are so good when you can have a bit of time to chill out and just go out and hit the ball.
Else.
Yeah.
How important is Chris Fagan into the makeup of your culture at the moment? Because I heard Charlie Cameron after the good win on Saturday kept referring to him as old man, and the commentators asked what that's about, and he said, he looks at him. I don't think he said the word father figure, but he talked Chris Fagan up really highly and so important to that group. Why don't you? Just curious what your take is on that.
Mate, he's unbelievable, and that same time that I was talking about with the draft when they come over, him, David Noble, who was our old GM, and Greg Swan, the CEO at the moment, they said to my family, they said in 2 or 3 years we'll be contending for finals. And I've kind of kicked my dad under the table. That's his bloke. But seriously, they had this vision back when he started, and literally have stuck to it just to a T. And I guess the one thing that he made sure of, Fags, is that he got a lot of good people in the footy club, and people first over players.
Yep.
Because his strength is his relationships and his connections with players. So the ability for him to, as I said to you guys before, like, anyone can go up to him and ask him for some feedback and he'll hit you straight between the eyes. But if it's a bit harsh, he'll be the first person later after that feedback to come up and say, like, all right, mate, well then how do we get to this next point kind of thing? And again, like we speak about him as a father figure, obviously. an older coach who never played AFL, and
Which is super impressive because it's so rare. And
there can be players that I think would probably sometimes find it hard to get feedback from someone who hasn't been at the high level and knows what it's like. But he's not.
Did he battle that, do you reckon?
Yeah,
initially?
definitely. And he's spoken about that with us and spoken about it publicly. But he's got such a great support group around him, and everyone knows that he's really, really switched on with his footy and knows what he's talking about. And you can just trust him, which is really the main thing it all falls back to. So if there's times where I've been struggling, he's asked me, how can I fix it? How can he fix it? Like, we'd work through things, and if there's any little player that's got a problem, if they might be not finishing their goals or anything, he will probably be the one that's out there helping them kick or helping them do the tiny little things like ground balls. And, when that's the top of the food chain of the footy club and he's putting that amount of time into everyone, it's pretty easy for everyone else just to follow in his footsteps. So a really great way to describe him is he's really like a leader of men. Like, he does such a great job of accommodating for everyone, and in return, everyone looks after him.
Yeah, no, that comes across as well. So what does Cam Rayner do if he wasn't a footballer?
Jeez, I don't know. He wouldn't be a golfer, that's for sure. I don't know. I think I probably would have went to uni. I've done a couple of little small courses along the way. I'm going to try and delve back into that this year. I probably would have fallen down the lines of my dad. My dad's a Boilermaker, and I've always
get the welding out.
Found that very interesting and grown up around that. But I think footy's always been something that's really passionate of mine, and I've always loved it. So I feel like there would have been a way for me to get into footy without actually playing either way, whether that be a little bit of media or journalism or who knows, maybe a little bit of podcasting here and there. But I think I would have found a way to try and incorporate it in my life.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice. Did we read that you're a big fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who's the?
ChatGPT gave us.
We've just figured out that there's a big golf culture there at the club. But is there a big culture, and who's the villains?
This is more about me and mum kind of thing. So
okay.
Dad and mum both very competitive, but mum super competitive, especially with me.
Yep.
Like more than the other two, my brother and my sister. So Connect 4 and were massive growing up at my house, and mum's actually moved up here now, and she'll come around here and there, and I can see her just sniffing out for the cards around the corner.
Is there a house rules with you two, or you play by the book?
Well, it's funny because she reckons that we had rules when I was a kid back at her house. That she reckons I've changed a little bit now that I've started playing in Brisbane. But every time she comes through my door, I'm like, well, we play by my rules through my house. See, I love the 2s on 2s. I love pick up, put down.
Yeah.
She's not a fan of that.
No, I'm with her. I don't rate that. Yeah.
So it's always good though, because then if she gives me a +2 and I've got one sitting up the sleeve, it hurts her a little bit more when I put it on there because she doesn't like that rule. But I think, those things are important. Like, we get so competitive over that, and there's times where she could come over for dinner and I'll end up with a game of or Connect 4, and by the end of it, I'm kind of like, you know what, mum? Get out. But it's always good. It's always good to keep in touch with those things.
Yeah.
Awesome, mate. Well, I think we'll wrap that up there.
Yeah, it's been good, mate.
The story. So thanks for coming on, Teabaggers.
Thanks, boys.
At the beautiful St. Lucia golf course here.
We did actually forget that at the start.
Yeah,
we are at the St. Lucia golf course in Brisbane.
Teabaggers on tour, so
had you played here?
I have played here. I was it would have been my early days as well. I reckon it would have been when I was off that 33, 32 mark of handicap. So I better get back out and actually have a little hit around, because the course is really, really nice.
It looks good. Striped fairways, beautiful greens.
Yeah, great clubhouse and set up here. So beautiful little spot.
So boys are heading off to the Caxton, so you better get straight.
Yeah, we're going to the Caxton to go to the State of Origin. So we're on a tight schedule, and you might not see us for our secondary podcast tomorrow. Anyway, thanks for being on the Teabaggers podcast, and appreciate your time.
Thanks very much,
Thank you,
boys. Appreciate it.